What is up, Nickel City Mafia and Red, White, and Bills? How are you doing tonight? It's good to be back, guys. Sorry I was out for the past, kind of feels like forever, 2 weeks. I'm still fighting this thing, but it's good to be back. Shawn, good to see you. Thank you for joining us. We are streaming live to the Red, White, and Bills. How you doing, my friend? Like I always say, there is no one cooler than Mr. Shawn Kula. So, Shawn, how you doing tonight, man?
Great. Jake forgot that when he was hosting
I
last week.
know. I butchered it.
Come
But
on, come on.
it's wonderful to have, the brains and the puppet master of the organization, Mike Thornton, back. We
That's
can't
right.
we can't get it done without you, Mike. You're a big piece to, and I mean that in not disrespecting towards everyone else, but you're the guy that keeps the glue together of our big team that we got going on here. Every time post pregame, you've taken the time to do due diligence, put out all the nice slides that everyone's going to see. Me and Jake, we probably could do it, but not like you can. So we're grateful. We're grateful for you. We're grateful for your health. You're coming back from a sickness. My wife had bronchitis, so she's been coughing all the time too. So she probably understands your pain a little bit the last couple of weeks. But
Yeah.
again, God bless you. Glad you're okay, and I'm ready to talk some Pats week. I mean, it
Yeah.
feels like it's been a long time since we played them, and we all remember what happened last time, but it's going to be not the same game, so it's going
Right.
to be a
Well,
lot to talk about.
I appreciate the kind words, Shawn, and I watched you guys show. You guys did a fantastic job, and Brett, Brett, we're missing tonight, but he'll join us hopefully for the post game show tomorrow night. And then, of course, as always, joining me is Mr. Jake Podger, right there, just outside of Buffalo. How you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing great, Mike. I'm just glad to have you back. I'll tell you what, I will echo what Shawn said. You do an amazing job of kind of keeping the glue here and keeping us on track, because I will ramble in a bunch of different ways. And I'll tell you what, it is not an easy task. So thank you for coming back. I am super happy, obviously, that you're healthy and you're feeling better. You're on the mend. I knew you were going to be a game time decision, but welcome back, baby. I was actually thinking you were going to pull a little Trey White or Josh Allen on us
No.
last week. But, hey, I'm glad that you're good. I know you had a tough illness. So, hey, we're back, baby.
I had to laugh because when I watched one of your shows, you guys were like, "Yeah, let's get on and we'll knock this out real quick." And then like 2 hours and 20 minutes later, the show's still
quick.
going strong. But that's just how we were. We love the Bills. We love talking. And tonight we're going to keep it a little short because everyone's still a little under the weather. But yeah, so let's get into. We got a lot to talk about on the Bills front. Huge game tomorrow. But before we get into the game, I wanted to talk about something a little bigger than football. And yes, there are some things bigger in life than football, believe it or not. The Nickel City Mafia, we have actually joined forces with the Punt Organization. And the Punt Organization is there. They help families that have children that have been diagnosed with cancer. And I mean, I can't imagine. I've told my story sometimes. Someday I'll tell my whole story to you guys, but at this point, it's not about that. But in 2016, I had my battle with cancer, and I was connected to two families that had children battling cancer. And whenever I would get low and I would be like, man, I don't know if I can deal with this anymore, I would think about these kids and what they were going through, and it helped me get strength to deal with the stuff that I had to deal with during my battle with cancer. So I'm going to turn this over to Jake for a little bit. We actually have a family. It's known as Baby Jack's family. So I'll let Jake talk about this a little bit, and you can see the story right there on the screen.
Yeah, so the Punt Foundation, first off, was founded by Brian Moorman back in, I think, 2003 or 2004. And obviously the whole purpose behind it was to, kind of establish this organization to help those families that are dealing with this kids with cancer. It's it's a really tough situation, especially with medical expenses, and of course it's a kid. I mean, this kid right here, this family who we're going to be sending our funds to and benefiting hopefully here. This is he's 18 months old, and he diehard Bills fan already at the age of 18 months. I mean, it's just it's such a it's a sad circumstance, but the thing is, like, these kids, I feel like they don't have an ounce of like sadness. They don't feel bad for themselves, and even though they're going through such a hard time, like they still have like that willpower. And Mike, you kind of talked about that a little bit. I mean, it's an amazing thing, just for them to be fighting through this major thing, and I think the beauty of this organization is obviously just to help these families out a little bit, whether it be, just sending some money for the mortgage or rent or, whatever, utility payments, all that stuff. So we were fortunate to be partnered up with this family. They're local to the Buffalo area. Baby Jack, he's faced with, he's doing some chemo and some surgery, and, he had what was a 3.5 pound
tumor
removed from his right kidney. So, I mean, I can't even imagine. Like, I have a daughter, she's 16 months, and I mean, basically the same age. I cannot even imagine like watching her go through something like that. It's just, it really hits home, especially when you do have kids. So I'm super happy that we're doing this. I think it's an amazing thing, and we appreciate any type of donation or any type of way that you can share this. I mean, just pass it along. I mean, we understand that not everyone can donate money, not everyone is financially able to do that, but just sharing it alone is just fine. I mean, that's all you need to do. So yeah, it's a great thing. And Mike, thank you for setting this up. We're pretty pumped about this. So yeah, we're going to put it into action. I know you're going to be providing the link in the description there, and you can donate to it. So
yeah,
yeah,
we haven't even made this link live, and it just shows how strong our community is and how they're dedicated to this. Like I posted this in our Discord channel. We already have $300 donated, which is amazing. So any amount is helpful. I mean, like I was saying, I was saying this before the show, but we have over 1,100 subscribers. If just every one of them donated $5, and there's no amount that's too little. I know a lot of folks like, I just don't have that much. $5 is plenty. And if every one of them donated $5, we'd have over $5,000, and we'd really make a big difference for this family. So whatever you can do, like Jake said, if you can't donate money, share it with your family, your friends, your social media platforms. So we appreciate you. The link is in the description. We'll be talking about this on every show. We'll actually be doing a dedicated show just for this, just a short little video Jake and I will put together about this. And yes, Dawson Knox is associated to this foundation. He's helped raise a lot of money for this organization since he was a rookie. I was talking to one of the founders or one of the CEOs of this company, and Dawson's been with them since he was a rookie with the Bills. So fantastic stuff.
Yeah. From one bill to another. Starts with Brian Moorman, and Dawson's kind of carrying it on, which is it's awesome to see. They always talk about Buffalo being the city of good neighbors, and like this is just another ode to them. It's incredible.
Oh,
yeah.
Mike, maybe you could reach out to Dawson Knox and see if he'll come on and kind of put his point of view or behind the scenes or whatever, how he got into it, and other ways that other people can help too. Maybe that'd be something cool that you could reach out to him and be like, oh, we're trying to spread the awareness and get people to know more about it, and see if he's interested in talking for a couple minutes. Maybe he'd enjoy that.
Yeah, I love that idea. So I definitely will. So again, thank you so much. I see Big L out there. He's like, all right, L and Maria Podge will start this fund off a $50 donation. I know Tom's out there in the channel. Tom's already donated. Once it posted, Tom was one of the guys. There's been a few folks that we've been working together to kind of get this going, and Tom was one of those, and he donated right away, and his mother donated, and Jake has donated. I'll be donating shortly. But again, don't feel pressure. If you can help, but you can help in many different ways. So let's get on with the show. We'll hear more about Baby Jack's family throughout the next few months on our show, at least. Okay, let's go.
By the way, Tom is referencing what happened in the Sabres game. The Sabres are up, by the way, guys, just so you know, 4-1 right now. They're beating up on the Red Wings right now. And he said the Detroit Organists just played Baby Shark. So kind of funny.
All right. Well, let's get into it. So injury time. Man, I'll tell you what, this injury report looks pretty good for Buffalo. I mean, it's hard to say that when you say Von Miller's on there and Deion Dawkins, but there's a lot of folks coming back. And I'll throw it to you, Shawn, to kind of talk about some of those Bills players that are coming back at the perfect time.
So I mean, with Von out, like McDermott said, they drafted Epi, Rousseau, and Basham for a reason. And, Epinesa and Basham had a couple weeks of slow play. They still did their job, but, they didn't really show up on the stat sheet. But when a guy like Von's out, you're going to have to show up on the stat sheet in some way because you got to make a play. You got to make a bit, maybe one big play or two big plays, whether it's a sack or, a forced fumble or something. Because with that, when Von's not being accounted for, that changes the whole entire offensive scheme for the defensive line. So if you're worried about Von, then someone like Rousseau or Basham or Epinesa or Shaq Lawson won't get as much attention. But now when Von's not out there, they're going to be like, oh, well, these guys are okay, but they're not Von Miller, so it's going to be a lot easier to defend them. But they're going to have to step up, at least one of them. And, I've been pleased with Boogie the first few weeks. In the last couple of weeks, his production's been down, but it doesn't mean that he can't step up this week. And, I see a lot of people saying he was a waste of a second-round pick and Epinesa was a waste of a second-round pick. But again, to me, it all goes back to how they were misused in their rookie seasons with, our coaching staff. They prefer to not play rookies when they're young to get them game reps to elevate their game and improve them. So again, I'm fully confident in Epinesa and Basham and Rousseau. And I mean, Rousseau's coming off of an ankle injury, so I'm sure he's just itching to go and ready to show, I've been learning from Von this whole time. Now I got to step up as the real, the guy that wreaks havoc on the D-line. So I think he will. And as far as Dawkins goes, he's not the best tackle in the league, but he's very consistent for us. He's a very reliable tackle. He's definitely a top 10 tackle, but, missing him when you got to worry about Spencer Brown being terrible on right tackle. I want to see, I like Quisenberry, but I prefer Quisenberry at right tackle. Maybe let's see Justin Murray at left tackle this week. Or just put Quisenberry at left tackle and let's get Justin Murray at right tackle. Let's see something different because, Dawkins is definitely your best lineman. Again, he's not, a world beater tackle, but he's definitely at least in the top 15, probably top 10. And, basically the commander besides, Mitch Morris, but the commander of the O-line. He's got the leadership and just that will to win that is going to be missed. So we need somebody to step up, whether it's Mitch Morris or Roger Saffold, the 14-year vet. Somebody's got to step up on this offensive line, especially when you're going against Matt Judon.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, and you know what? I think we were all kind of breathing a sigh of relief once we saw that Twitch stream with Von Miller where he said, 7 to 10 days. So, yeah, he may be out for this game, but we know at least from his mouth, he said it wasn't going to be a long-term thing. He's going to try to play, this next game maybe even. So, after this Patriots game, of course. So, that's definitely a good thing. But, yeah, it gives these other guys, these younger guys, some time to step up. And, boy, I am relieved to have Greg Rousseau back. And you do look at the injury reports. This is the cleanest it's been, even though we have two, major impact players on the list. But, hey, man, 3 injuries, I'll take it. I will take it. It's pretty clean considering, what we've dealt with all year long.
Yeah, I mean, getting Edmonds back, Rousseau, AJ Epinesa, huge. But talk to me, Shawn, about, because I know you love the trenches. Who's going to take over for Deion Dawkins over there?
Well, like I said, I would prefer to see how Justin Murray does, but they're going to stick with Quisenberry. And I think Quisenberry's been playing a lot better than Spencer Brown. So I'm not mad that Quisenberry's playing, but I'm more mad that Brown's still on the field. And whether, people say what they want about PFF, it's basically it's not as advanced as baseball analytics where there's math formulas and all these other things that really prove stuff that's true. But this is all we got as far as metrics for football analytics. And Spencer Brown is ranked 77th out of 80 on offensive tackle. That means people's backups are better than our starting right tackle. And, you look at him last year, he was 70 out of 83. So he's actually gotten worse than what he already was last year. And he was pretty goddamn awful. So, I mean, I would prefer giving someone else a chance. But I think because Quisenberry was that guy they brought in and they brought Justin Murray in later, they have a vendetta against playing people that weren't there from the jump for some reason. So I have a feeling it'll be Quisenberry, which I'm fine with. I mean, obviously he's not Deion Dawkins, but I would prefer Quisenberry and Murray. And if Murray's not good, then you could put Brown back in because you can't be much. There's only 3 people worse than him.
How about your boy, Bobby Hart, Shawn?
Yeah, even
think?
Bobby Hart. I mean, I'd love to give Bobby Hart a shot too, but that's the thing. This is a game where you could probably see what you got in someone else. You could
Right.
start Bobby Hart at right tackle, Quisenberry at left tackle. Bobby Hart's not doing well. Give him a series, see how he does against Judon and everything. Then you roll with the hot hand. Maybe I know it sounds stupid, but when you're missing your starting left tackle and your right tackle's a bum, this is a chance where you get to see maybe we found a better person at right tackle than Spencer Brown because of Deion Dawkins being out, because we had to switch someone else over. So to me, and this is kind of what happened with Bates. Bates had to go in last year. He performed well, and then everybody wanted to give him this big contract. And, he played well last year, but now he's kind of eh. But I think this is a perfect time to give your other tackles a chance, see what happens. Because, Spencer Brown, the film and the stats show it. He's just not good. And, I've been pounding the table for weeks. Give someone else a shot. If Singletary fumbles once and he gets 2 touchdowns, he gets benched. But Spencer Brown gives up 8 pressures and 2 sacks and a quarterback hit, and they let him start the next game. Like, you got to have accountability for playing poorly. I know. Well, what about Josh? Josh has played poorly. Quarterback's a little bit different when you're at Josh's level. He's not Zach Wilson, or whatever. So I think it'd be nice to have someone else, but long story short, I'm sorry I made it longer. It'll probably be Quisenberry at left tackle and Spencer Brown at right tackle. But I prefer, if Spencer Brown was out and they gave Bobby Hart or Justin Murray a shot just to see how it goes. That's a good metric going against Matt Judon. For the most part, you'd be going against him. So why not give Bobby Hart the first series? If he looks like a bum, put Murray in. If he plays like a bum, you can put Spencer Brown back in because you already know the play you're going to get from Brown. But that's just me. I don't know you guys' opinion, but that's just my opinion on the whole situation that we got right now.
No, all good points. It'll be interesting to see if who they go with. I think they're going to go with what you're saying. So it'll be interesting, and I like that thought that hey, maybe this will be a blessing in disguise that we see someone else who can step up and get the job done for us tomorrow.
You hate to ruin consistency like that, but I totally see where you're coming from. Because if you're just rotating guys in, I get you want to have a consistent line across the board, but until someone steps up and shows what they can do, you might have to take that approach. And then one last thing I just want to mention too: Ike Butker, big return this week, possibly. So
yeah,
keep our fingers crossed about that as well. Talking about the trenches, but Mike, go ahead with this injury report for the Pats.
So the injury report with the Patriots, you just never know. I'm just going to talk about the ones that are listed as out, which is Damian Harris. That is big. That's their part of their two-headed dragon there. Isaiah Wynn is out. And then everybody else here on the screen is questionable. Jake, is there anybody else on this list here that would be wow, that would be huge for them if this person can't go?
Yeah, absolutely. David Andrews, I think that would be monstrous. We're seeing how well Eddie Oliver's playing and DaQuan Jones and our interior defensive line. If he's out, I'll tell you what, we're going to eat up again this week. So David Andrews, someone to definitely keep an eye on. I think he went out last game with an injury. So absolutely something to monitor. Looking at these other guys too, you got the other tackle too, Kajust. That's another guy to look out for too. They're banged up on the offensive line right now. You're talking Isaiah Wynn; he's already ruled out of the game. So I think the D line. I know we don't have Von Miller in, but that interior D line has helped out a ton this year, and I think they're going to have another big day.
All right, Shawn, anything to add on that?
Yeah, definitely. Harris being out is huge for us, but Stevenson has taken over really as majority back, and he's insane. We all know how he is, but just to have another guy that's like Harris out, obviously helps us out. And that Kajus guy, I think he was Isaiah Wynn's backup. So the fact that their backup is injured a little bit,
yeah, exactly.
That's huge for Rousseau, especially. I think he was the right tackle. And then like I said, I saw Jacoby Myers get hurt. In the last game on Thanksgiving. So he's probably playing banged up a little bit, but it looks like he's going to play. Parker's going to play. But Marcus Jones, I don't even want to punt to it. I know it's off topic, but
yeah,
every punt and kick return, I want it to be unreturnable because he's definitely the best returner in the league, and it's no question. So keep the ball.
This guy is like a modern day Devin Hester, basically. Yeah. I won't put him in that category, but he offers that, that
Oh, yeah.
spark for them. So for sure, yeah, he's really good.
All right. Well, let's get into the weather report. There really is no weather. It's perfect football. It's going to be 35 degrees at kickoff and winds at 8 miles per hour. So, no
Beautiful.
weather to affect the outcome of this game, which is fantastic in my opinion. Let's get into the offenses between the two, and then I'm going to throw it to you, Jake, to talk a little bit about the Patriots offense. So I put a bunch of numbers up here, but again, I don't want to bore you with a lot, but I will talk about two numbers. So the Bills averaged 28.1 points per game. That is second in the league. The Patriots, believe it or not, I was actually surprised to see that they were averaging 21.7 points per game, which is ranked 18th. Total yards per game, the Bills are averaging 415.9, which is second in the league. And over there on the Patriots side is 325.9 total yards per game, which is ranked 21st. So while they're putting points on the board, they're being efficient with those yards that they're putting up, because they're almost 100 yards behind the Bills' average total yards per game. Yet they're 7 points, less than 7 points per game averaging. So Jake, talk to us about the Patriots offense and what we have to look forward to as we take the field tomorrow night.
Yeah, I think a lot of people look to what happened last week on Thanksgiving. Mac Jones with a career game. He had his best ever game in passing yards. He threw for 382 yards, but that Vikings pass defense isn't great, although they do have Pat Peterson and Harrison Smith, who are obviously very good players, very good veteran players. But they've been allowing a ton of passing yards per game. I think they're 32nd in the league in average passing yards allowed per game. So take that with a grain of salt, of course. But it is something to definitely look out for. They do have some players on that team that can make an impact. I mean, Devontae Parker, for whatever reason, whenever he plays against the Bills, he always has a big game. So I think that's a guy to obviously look out for. But I think the biggest story is, Ramondre Stevenson. This guy is a downhill runner. He has received a ton of praise from Bill Belichick, of all people. Bill Belichick is very, he doesn't say much, but when he does, I mean, it echoes, obviously. So for him to say what he did about Ramondre Stevenson, sort of just praising him, like in these different meetings and whatnot, that goes a long way, I think. And that just goes to show probably how good of a player he is, which we know he's very dangerous. He's a power runner. He's fast when he gets into open space. So that's definitely a guy we got to hone in on. But these receivers are a little sneaky. And then finally, we started to see an emergence of the tight ends, which is, something that's been a staple for the Patriots throughout the last 20 seasons. They really haven't gotten it done over the last season and a half. But last week, Hunter Henry, man, he had a day. And that guy, he was a former Pro Bowl tight end for a reason. So certainly another guy to look out for. And then, of course, Jonnu Smith, who I think has definitely been extremely underutilized. They have a two-headed monster there at tight end, so definitely not something to sleep on. They have some of these weapons that just sort of come out of nowhere, but I think the main guys to key in on are those four guys that I just mentioned. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens. I think the offense for the Pats is decent. It can get it done. It's super interesting because Matt Patricia's calling the plays. He's never done that before. So I think with all of that being said, all that sort of being put together, I think they've done a pretty solid job. They've been very methodical with how they execute. So that's a team that I think they're going to just take what the defense gives them. Whatever's working, they're going to run with it, and that's that.
Yeah, they've given up 31 sacks compared to the Bills, who've given up 23 sacks. And again, I always say our numbers look good because of Josh Allen. Josh Allen can get
absolutely.
out of trouble.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
What is crazy, guys, is that last year coming into this game, at the game, we were 7-4. 7-4 last year, coming into Buffalo to play the Patriots. And then we went on a 2-game slide. We lost to the Patriots in that hurricane wind, whatever you want to call it, game.
They completed, 3 passes?
He threw 3 passes.
I think
he only completed
one.
Yeah. And so absolutely, we lost 14-10, just crazy. Then we lost to the Buccaneers the week after, but that was the game where we were getting our butts whooped in the first half. The Bills came out, forced it into overtime, almost won, and from that point on, that kind of gave them the momentum. They won the next 4 and went into the playoffs strong. So it's interesting. We're 8-3 this year. We're 1 better, and we were 7-4 last year. And then this time, instead of being in Buffalo, we're going to be in Foxborough to play the Patriots. So interesting stuff here. Shawn, anything you want to add to the offense from the Patriots?
Oh, yeah. Before that, though, I just want to mention how, in points per game and yards, we're second. And that's all with us playing kind of poorly to our fan standard for the last 4 or 5 weeks. So like that thinking about stuff like that, it makes me really take a step back and think, maybe it's good that we're playing these playoff like games constantly where it's super close, or like, we're screaming at the TV, we're getting pissed off, like, why is this happening? But they still edge it out and get the win. Because look, they're still putting up 28 points a game and 415 total yards when they're not even playing their best football. So I know that's for the whole season. Point. I know it's for the whole season, but like for the last 4 or 5 weeks, we haven't been, since the bye week, we haven't seen what this team's capable of. So I think that's very encouraging. But for the Patriots, like you said, sneaky players, Jacoby Myers, everyone thought, he's nothing. Devontae Parker, he's emerging with the Patriots, better than when he was with Miami. Jacoby Myers is shifty and sneaky. And then, they're finally using their tight ends, which worries me. But now that we got Edmonds back, I think that helps the middle of the field. But, bringing that old Patriot way back, like I said, their offense isn't, like the Bills or the Chiefs where it sticks out at you like, oh my God, they're insane. But like you said, Mike, they're very efficient. They're doing the most with their opportunity with the yards. And again, with the sack total, that surprises me. Usually the Patriots O-line is pretty solid, but again, when you don't have a mobile quarterback, it's kind of hard. That 23 could be 43 if we had Mac Jones or Case Keenum or somebody back there, right. Or Aaron Rodgers. So, I mean, that's, a grain of salt with us, but 31 sacks, let's make it 36 plus.
About 41. Let's get 10.
Or 41. I mean, we're due for that because, as I mentioned, we're talking about the defense after, so I'll bring it up after.
Yeah.
I mean, 31 sacks, they're missing their starting right tackle and possibly their center, and Cole Strange, their left guard. I mean, they say he's a very, they got made fun of for picking him in the first round because he's like he was a fifth round talent. But they've been saying he's pretty good.
Yeah, I think he's played above expectations for sure.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely not like, someone to write home about, but definitely played above expectation. But nothing that Ed Oliver and Daquan Jones can't handle is all I'm going to say.
Agreed.
But very efficient offense.
All right. Totally agree. And I was actually surprised when you looked at their rushing. We talked about how good of a running game are, yet they're ranked 23rd. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Well, now, again, going back to the whole Josh Allen, it's amazing how much he just increases these stats. It inflates these stats so much, and it kind of disguises how bad we are in other areas. Because you look at the Pats, I mean, Mac Jones, you'd be lucky if he has 1 rushing yard in the game tomorrow, so yeah. I might come back and,
I was going to run all over
words, but yeah, right, exactly. But, that is strictly just running backs with those rushing yards. With us, like half of those rushing yards per game is always at least, definitely Josh Allen. So it is definitely interesting when you compare the two.
It's kind of crazy that 136 is 8th. It's crazy that 7 people run more than 136 yards a game.
Yeah.
Right.
But
all right, let's get into the defensive side of things. And Shawn, this is where you love talking about defensive players. But you can see, I mean, the defenses have been excellent. All of the defenses in the AFC East have just brought it this year. The Bills are ranked 5th. They give up 18.1 yards per game. And the Patriots right behind them, 18.4 points per game. They're ranked 6th. And then in total yards per game, the Bills are ranked 12th, 327.3. And the Patriots are actually better. They're ranked 4th, giving up only 307.8 total yards per game. So, Shawn, what are they doing over there? I know they lost J.C. Jackson, right? The big cornerback last year. He moved on, and you would have thought, all right, that'd be a big opportunity for us in this game. But, I mean, talk to me about how they're getting this done. How are they able to put up these numbers? I mean, these are fantastic.
Well, you got to give credit to the veteran McCourty. I think it's Jason, right? Or
no, it's Devin. Yeah,
Devin. Okay, yeah, Devin McCourty.
He's got 4 picks this year, I think.
Yeah, so he's that veteran presence that every backfield in the secondary needs. And then you got, of course, Jalen Mills is starting to come up a little bit. He's their weaker link, in my opinion, but he's still a solid corner. And then you got Jonathan Jones and Jack. Jack was a
Jones.
rookie pick who people also scoffed at, but he's also been a very solid corner and someone who, definitely played above what everyone thought. And it's kind of like us. It seems like the Patriots breed secondary, and again, they're just a solid unit altogether. And then of course you got a great pass rush to go along with it with Matt Judon, of course, and Deatrick Wise and Godshaw, and everybody on that defensive line can get to it. And again, as we noticed with our good pass rush, sometimes when your secondary lacks, that's when you give up 327 221 passing yards a game, which it seems like it's little, but for the Buffalo Bills, that's insanely high. And again, I give our guys a lot of credit because they stepped up when we had a lot of injuries. And again, 18 points a game, that wins you 9 times out of 10. And 327 total yards, it's only a 20-yard difference, but it's 8 spots, which is insane to me. You know what I mean? It's just that's how close it is to being, elevated into the top 5. But I mean, our rushing yards per game, 105. It looked like it was going to be a lot worse than that after the last couple of weeks that we had. But all in all, you stopped Chubb to 18 yards and Henry to 25, 2 of the best 3 backs in the league, or 2 of the 4 best if you count Jacobs and Saquon. But I'm very pleased with that. And again, the passing yards per game, 221 is not terrible, but from how they started, even the backups, not even using the injuries as an excuse, the backups that were filling in, they were playing amazing. They were doing a hell of a job. Dane Jackson was somewhat locked down. Benford was locked down. Everybody was going crazy. And then the last few games, you see that passing yards per game creep up a little bit with, Brissett throwing over 300, I can't remember. Kirk Cousins throwing over 300.
Yeah.
Everybody's just having their Goff almost 250 yards. So everybody's having their way with the secondary lately. And then when you go to the 30 sacks, as I mentioned on the last show with Jake and Brett, those 30 sacks, probably all 30 are true pass rush because our secondary hasn't been as great as our pass rush has. So we don't get coverage sacks. And a lot of people say we need more pressure. We're at about the 43% pass rush win rate, which is, the best is 55 with the Eagles, but the Cowboys lead the league in sacks and they're about 51%. So you're 43% is basically meaning, 4 out of 10 times, you're winning the pass rush. So that's when your secondary has to step up the other 6 times and try to help the defensive line out because 4 out of 10 is great. You go to the Hall of Fame for baseball for hitting 3 out of 10. So if my pass rush can win 4 out of 10 times, I'll always take that because you can see it in the games. They're doing a phenomenal job. They're hitting their holes right. Their assignments are all right. Their stunts are all right. They're always near the quarterback, and they're making it home most of the time. 30 sacks. I had us in the top 5 before the preseason started. I think we can still get to that, but I mean, they got a guy that's got 14 sacks, and he can't be stopped right now. But he had the similar season last year where he was like this, and then he kind of slowed down near the end of the year. So maybe, praying to God, because he's going against Spencer Brown most of the time, praying to God he starts slowing down this week. But yeah, I mean, for a Bills defense, obviously this isn't what we all expected. I think they're out of the overall defense. I think they're out of the top 10, which we haven't been out of the top 10, and I can't even, definitely not in the McDermott era. So, I mean, it's a little bit weird, but as you guys mentioned, we're getting healthier. Trey White's back. Poyer he played 2 games in a row, so it seems even though he's injured, he's coming back. Edmonds is back. Now we hope we can stay as healthy as possible because that's what winning's all about in the postseason. Who can stay the healthiest? We're missing Von this week, but it's a perfect time to have these young guys that have been watching him since OTAs. How are they going to apply what Von taught them when Von's not on the field? And I'm really excited to see that. But I mean, it's going to be a great defensive battle and probably a close game.
Yeah, division game. It can go any way. You always think it might be a blowout, but I don't think you can even predict a blowout anymore for this Bills team. I think it's going to be close. It's going to be hard fought. And boy, I am so happy to have Tremaine Edmonds and Matt Milano back, especially for this game. You know, we talked a little bit about the tight ends and whatnot. So that'll be really, really nice to have. Talking about the Patriots D too. I mean, they had Matt Judon, but they also got a kid, Josh Uche, who has been fantastic as well. I think they both in one game, each of them had 3 sacks. I believe it was the Jets game. And so people talking about Matt Judon, they got another kid too, Josh Uche out of Michigan, who has just been fantastic this year as well. And he's kind of, following in Matt Judon's footsteps. So they have some very good pass rushers. Dietrich Wise is very good too. I think he's got 6.5 sacks himself. So that's obviously the Patriots D, I think they're always pretty stout. I think they always, come to play and they show up. So, let's just hope, like Shawn said, that Matt Judon slows down a little bit. He didn't do so hot against us last year. We actually got under his skin a little bit, if you remember. Yeah. So hopefully we can do the same thing. That would be great.
For sure. And I do want to say one more thing before we move on, if that's what unless Mike wanted to, of course, Mike can say his piece. But the Patriots do a great job of disguising their coverages, and Josh says it all the time. You know, they start in one and they start in man, they end up in zone, they start in zone, end up in man. Half of them's playing, half the field's playing zone, half is playing man. So that's another reason why they do that. They execute that extremely well. And, playing a quarterback like Zach Wilson, obviously he can't get it done against the Patriots. He's, awful. And they played him twice. Sam Ellinger, the rookie quarterback for the Colts, they took his lunch. Like if you're not an elite quarterback, you're going to struggle. Even if you are elite, you might struggle against the Patriots secondary. So, I just had to throw that in there because you did mention, how are they getting this done? I meant to say that and I forgot, but that's the first thing I wanted to start with.
Definitely.
Yeah. I was going to say, it's crazy to me. Look at the number for the Patriots, the passing yards that they're giving up per game. Only less than 200 yards in today's NFL. And there are 8 other teams better giving up less than 198 yards through
crazy.
The air.
Yeah.
That's insane to me. The Bills are giving up 221, and that number's steadily been increasing. But I want to ask
even that
you guys,
is really good in this modern NFL.
It's crazy. Now this week, guys, is interesting, right? Because Trey White, he was on a pitch count last week, about 15 snaps, I think, in total. I wonder how many more snaps they're going to allow him to play. And we could go from having 2 young rookies starting to having Xavier Rhodes and Trey White. Now the veterans' turn.
Yeah.
Doesn't that sound interesting? I kind of like the sound of that. I know Benford's out on IR. I'm sure Dane Jackson will still, start. But it'd be interesting to see how much Xavier Rhodes. But let me ask you guys, the pitch count on Trey White. What do you think that's going to be, Jake?
I think they said it's going to steadily increase. I think it's going to go from about 15 plays. They're going to double it this week, Mike. I think it's going to be 30 plays. You can rotate other guys in there. Kaiir Elam seems like he's getting healthier too. And I'll tell you this, when Trey White was on the field against Detroit, they never threw his way. He looked pretty damn good. I'm not saying like it, it's not much to really go off of course, but when he's on the field, I think the whole defense feels like they're better. And it goes without saying he's an all-pro corner for a reason. And I think his play is going to increase quite a bit for this week. So I think it's going to be a really nice coming out party for him, and we're going to see how important he is. I think he's got kind of like that Von Miller effect where he makes everyone else on the field better. So I'm really, really happy to have him back. It's just an awesome thing.
And then, Shawn, I want to have a follow-up question on Judon to you. Do they move Judon around? Are they going to move him left and right to kind of take advantage of whoever's struggling the most against him?
Oh, yeah, for sure. They love to move him around. And, why wouldn't you? He could get it done against anybody. But especially with us, I pick on Spencer Brown all the time. But, it'll be nice for them if they can keep switching around. And then, maybe the other guy that they're going to switch against Brown beats Brown more, even though say the guy that's going on Brown can't beat Quisenberry, but Judon could. So they'll just be, let's move Judon over here. This guy's doing better against Spencer Brown, and then that dominant on both sides. But I could definitely see them switching. They love to move him around. He's an elite pass rusher, and I could definitely see him doing really well against either tackle. But I think with us, though, I think it might be more beneficial if he does move around, because, when you got Roger Saffold on the left side, Quisenberry, if he's playing, I think they could be a good duo. Not that Bates couldn't, but, you got that vet instinct with Saffold. So it might benefit us more if he switches around, but I can still see him doing it though, for sure. I do want to mention with the Trey White in the corner thing, you're giving my hopes up, man, thinking, are they going to play Rhodes and Trey White? Because we know that they just don't like to play these other guys that deserve playing time. And I thought you said that, and I was like, man, that's beautiful. That would just be awesome.
That would be beautiful.
And the other caveat to Jake, you mentioned they didn't throw to the Trey White side. They that's true, they didn't. But now I started thinking after that, Dane Jackson's cornerback too. Trey White doesn't travel in the zone. So what the other offenses will do, they'll just put their number 2 on Trey White, not throw him the ball, and then put their number 1 on Dane Jackson and get over 100 yards with that number 1. Which when I saw that, I was thought about that. I was like, man, like that's just, if I could think of that, that these offensive coordinators are going to do that. So Dane Jack, because people were like, Dane Jackson's not meant to be a cornerback 1. You guys are too hard on him. And I was like, well, for one, he's played cornerback 1 for a year now straight, and it doesn't matter if you're a 7th round pick. Right now, you're a starter for the Buffalo Bills. So I don't care where you were drafted. I don't care, what school you went to. You were entitled to the number 1 corner spot, and you have to play up to that standard. You were for the first few weeks, but now you're playing bad. It has to be talked about. And then the fact that when Trey White's back, they're still going to target you with their number 1. So you got to be better regardless if you're playing cornerback 2 or not. But I would love, sprinkle Dane Jackson in, of course. But I would love a nice Rhodes, Elam, back and forth. Elam's coming off an injury too. Get Rhodes in there as well. And I think by Miami, Trey White will be full-time, 100% of the snaps by then. I think that's probably a fair amount of workload. 15 plays here. You could probably get about 60 plays in a game. So that makes sense. 15 here and another 15. But it was really nice to see him out there. And what's the beauty of it is he's so smart. And again, he doesn't have to look at Jordan Poyer or Micah Hyde when they're playing. They just click like this. So when he's on there, I don't have to worry about one of the corners just being completely baffled and confused about something, because Trey White won't be. So you got Poyer and White already on the same page, knowing what each of them are going to do. So then that gives you that little cushion of, okay, I can relax a little bit, knowing that no matter what happens, Trey White, he might get beat once in a while, because everybody does, but he knows what the heck he's doing. He knows every option. He's very intelligent, and it's just beautiful to have someone smart like that back. Not that everyone else isn't smart, but the veteran presence, being in the defense for all these years. And again, he's just a very smart, intelligent person. So great to have him back. And
agreed.
Maybe he'll step up this week and get a nice tip pass or intercept, or leads to a pick, or get his own pick.
That'd be awesome, man.
Mac Jones is going to want to throw I think they're going to run a lot, but I think after the game Mac just had and what they've seen our corners and our secondary be the last few weeks, I can see them testing us too. So
yeah, I think the jump ball is going to be a big thing. I mentioned Devontae Parker. That guy, he's had some big games against the Bills in the past, especially with Miami. And I think there's, they saw what Amari Cooper did. They saw what Amon-Ra St. Brown did. They saw what Justin Jefferson did to our corners. So it's even Donovan Peoples-Jones. That's another name. Man, you throw the jump ball to Devontae Parker, he's going to come down with it. He plays so much bigger than his size. He almost reminds me of like Chris Chambers a little bit. And I think he's still like 6'2", 6'3", so he is pretty big as it is. Chris Chambers is only 5'11". That guy just outjumped everyone. It was incredible. But Go Bills podcast, Brett. Thank you for joining us, man. Wish you could be on. I don't know. We just apologize we didn't get you on today, but post game maybe tomorrow
hopefully
night.
You can be on the post game. Yeah, Jake, I just want to ask you real quickly. Xavier Rhodes. I mean, he's like a 10-year vet, former Pro Bowler. I know his last couple of years weren't his greatest, but he would be asked to do something slightly different in this defensive scheme, which is, I think, a little bit easier than what he was asked to do in his previous teams. Mm-hmm. He's a bigger guy, talking about those guys that are going to be able to jump.
Yeah.
I hope we see him on the field quite a bit, and I would love to see him and Trey. And I just wanted to ask you, even though he's a 10-year vet, why do you think he was available? I feel like, why is a guy like this with that talent available? I don't know what to make of that.
Well, it's interesting, Mike. When we did sign him, he ends up with, he pulled his hamstring or he did something to it in the first week of practice. So maybe there's something to be said about just him not being in shape. Maybe a lot of teams were thinking about that. But yeah, I mean, he was just with Indianapolis last year. He was still playing at a decent level. Obviously, not the 2019 year that he had with the Vikings, where he was a Pro Bowler. But even so, he's only 3 years removed from that. And I think even in Indy, he did a pretty good job. But he just meshes really well with this system. He's played under Leslie Frazier in Minnesota. He knows the scheme. He's really good in this scheme. And I would love to have him out there, like you said, Mike. He's a bigger guy. And especially if the Pats are going to be running the football a little bit out there, you want to have a guy that's, willing to put his body on the line and make a tackle. And that's one thing I could say about Trey White, too. He's physical. He's very physical. He's not the biggest guy in the world, but he'll go out there and he'll make a tackle in the run game, which you love to see. So I want to see Trey White, Xavier Rhodes, and Kyrie Elam out there all day. Dane Jackson, sprinkle them in like Shawn said, but I want our physical guys out there for sure.
Absolutely. And I don't want people to think I hate Dane Jackson because I love Dane Jackson, but when you're struggling, like when Saleh benched Zach Wilson, rightfully so, but sometimes you need that. I mean, Mac Jones got benched, and you need to realize what you're doing isn't up to the standard. Yeah, I mean, like again, people are like, "Oh, what about Josh? He deserves to get benched." And if he played bad games, that's a different thing because Josh has played elite football for going on. This is the third year now. Dane Jackson, he's had spurts of greatness and spurts of bad. But let him think that your roster spot isn't given. You have to earn every rep. So if you've been struggling, sit on the pine for a little bit. These guys are going at it, and then if I call your name, you better answer. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think a lot of people, even in a normal job, can perform better that way. So if Jake's at work and then Mr. Jello, Bench Allen is
can we block that guy?
He's a Titans fan. He's just
say Jello's your boss, and then he says, Jake, those quarterly reports that you do every quarter, obviously they're not up to the company standard. You should clean that up because I expect more from you. Blah blah blah. That'll make Jake think, oh wow, I mean, I thought I was doing okay, but I can always improve, and I want to prove to Jello that I can be the best employee in the company. So again, it's a different metaphor, but I think especially in sports where it's like the mantra of I'm a big tough guy, this and that. You're not guaranteed. So if you're threatened, that's what you want, because then not only will he play even harder, but he won't get complacent ever anymore. Right. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. Earning your way.
Yeah, if Jello's your boss, he's soft, man. He's a soft boss, and I think he'd be able to get away with a lot of things.
His name, Jello, man. Listen, I love Jello, so no ill will towards that.
We gotta bring
go for some Jello right now.
We gotta bring him on soon. He would love to join us.
All right,
I think that'd be great, especially if the Titans and Bills play in the playoffs. I think that'd be fun. Chop it up with them a little bit.
All right, we're going to move on here. Last thing I'm going to say is Shawn mentioned it, 37 sacks for the Patriots, this defense. This is second in the league, only behind the Cowboys. They are getting it done. And obviously, like I think Shawn said, the better that front line plays, the better everything behind it looks, which is kind of what we were getting earlier in the season when we had everybody healthy. But now that things have been starting to struggle and we get all these injuries, you start seeing our corners start getting eaten alive. So, again, a large part of that defense is what they've been getting done, getting pressure on the quarterback. So, good stuff there.
Mike, are we in the top 10? I didn't check. With the 30?
In the 30? No, that's the winner. No, I don't think we're in the top 10, Shawn.
Damn, really?
Yeah, they were not.
Well, let's hold the Patriots to 0 sacks and let's get 8, and then we're number 2.
That's right.
I usually throw this quarterback slide up. I'm gonna skip it. It's not even a comparison.
Just zoom in on Josh's stats there for Jello.
Yeah, just there you go, Jello.
I wish we could put Ryan Tannehill next to him.
Yeah, since Jello's
Although
here,
Ryan Tannehill is very capable. I do like him. I think he's a very solid quarterback.
Ryan Tannehill is much better than Mac Jones.
Absolutely.
And also, what people could, I will say, I know you don't like to throw this up there, but people have been, talking bad about Josh because of 11 interceptions. I mean, look at all the top, or what people think of the top quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers has 9. Mahomes has 8. Burrow has 8. Kirk Cousins has 9. And Kirk Cousins usually has very few picks. I mean, and obviously Mac Jones isn't a top quarterback, but he's only played, he missed 4 games and he's already got 7 picks. So I'm fine with Josh throwing picks because that's what gunslingers are going to throw picks. And if you look at Mahomes and all these guys' picks, probably a quarter of them are tipped passes. It just happens. I mean, if Josh is going to, he had 15 ints last year. He might not throw 4 more. And then everyone's going to be like, oh, he had less interceptions. I don't know why I was going crazy. It just happens sometimes. When you throw the ball 40 plus times a game, there's a better chance of you're going to get interception. And again, 28 total touchdowns, 11 picks. I'm fine with that. He's going to throw, a few more tomorrow, a few more every week. So it's like every time you get it, once in a while interception. Yeah, it stinks when it's in the red zone, but that's the thing. He went like 4 years with throwing 1 red zone pick. Now he's got 6 in the last 4 games. That's not a normal occurrence. That's not going to happen continuously. That stretch will leave Josh, and then it won't happen for a while. So I'm not. It stinks, but I'm not concerned. With Josh, people say he's regressed. That's not regression. It just happens. I mean, Stafford led the league with 17 picks last year, and he won the Super Bowl. And nobody talked about his picks in the regular season. Everyone's like, "Oh, Stafford's looking so great," and so I'm not concerned about it.
Yeah, same here. So
I think the more concerning thing is just looking at the ratio. I mean, 28 to 11. That's total touchdowns. I think he's thrown 23 passing touchdowns this year.
Yeah.
So it's still 2 to 1. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah, exactly. And that QBR rating for Mac Jones is kind of sickening. So we won't stand here much. Let's go.
Hey, how about the Sabres getting it done in overtime, by the way, guys? Jack
let's
win with
go.
the game-winning goal. Love to see it. We got some of the Sabres fans creeping over here. I'm a Sabres fan as well, of course, being from Buffalo. Mike is as well. Shawn, you're a Caps fan, right?
Yeah, that's the only thing.
Well, you were stationed in Washington, so you have the connection there. You're a Nats
so
fan
I never watched hockey until I sat front row mid ice at a Caps game, 8 years ago, and I was like, I fell in love with it, and again, I wasn't a huge hockey fan until I went there, and I was like, well, it's the only team I watched. I'm from, I've been here now. I gotta root for them, so they're my hockey team. And the only thing we should be talking about for hockey is Ovi going to 800. That should be the only thing anybody's worried about. He had 2 goals yesterday. He's almost to 800. So, I mean, we might never see anything like this for a very long time. I don't know if he'll beat Wayne because Ovi had a couple lockout seasons and the COVID year, but he ain't going to give up without a fight.
Well, it's also not as heavy of a goal-scoring league as it was when Wayne Gretzky played. But Wayne Gretzky, I mean, he's the great one for a reason. So, anyways.
All right, let's get back to football, gentlemen. Let's get back to football. Good to see you out there, Antonio. Maybe you can talk Jello down saying that Josh Allen's a bum.
He's not being serious, is he? I mean, come on.
No,
I know he's chirping,
not.
probably,
I see him on Sean's show all the time. He always throws
No, we like
fun
Jello. I like when he
up.
comes in here. Thank you for watching, man. Appreciate it.
All right, so let's get into key matchups. Let's start with you, Jake. Tell us your key matchups for this game.
Oh, man. I don't want to say what I said like the last 3 weeks, but I feel like I have to. I mean, they're so banged up on the interior of their offensive line right now. You're missing potentially David Andrews. And then you have Yadni Kajus. You have Isaiah Wynn, who's out. I know those guys are tackles. Here we go again. Cole Strange obviously playing above expectations, but he's still a rookie. I think we can take advantage of them a little bit inside, guys. I just feel really good about that matchup. I think, especially with how good their running game is and with how much they run the ball inside the tackles, and Ramondre Stevenson, that's sort of his identity. He's like that. Here you go, Jello. He's like that Derrick Henry, not the same level as Derrick Henry, of course, but he's a bigger back. He can run up the middle, and once he gets out in the open, I mean, he's taking it the distance. So he's got a rare combination of power and speed. So I think that's a guy you got to hone in on and focus on a little bit. So I think that's absolutely one of my key matchups is our D-line, again, they've been getting it done the last few games against their interior O-line. On the other side of the ball, I think it's, it's pretty evident. You talk about our receivers, they're a little banged up in the secondary. As long as we can give Josh some time, I mean, I think I'll take Stephon Diggs over Jalen Mills any day of the week. I'll take him over Jack Jones any day of the week. I'll take him over Miles Bryant any day of the week. So I think, we look at what happened in one of the last games of the season last year against New England. It was a coming out game for Isaiah McKenzie, who is coming off a really big game as well. I would like to see some involvement from him. I think we can, take advantage of him in the slot. I dare any slot corner to try to keep up with a guy like Isaiah McKenzie. I mean, he's fast as hell. You see what happens when we can scheme him into the game plan. So I would like to see more of that. Take a little pressure off Steph, but I still think Steph is going to eat. He's going to have a big day. He's physical. And boys, it'd be interesting to see what happens. Do we activate Smoke for this game? Because might have a nice deep threat in him too. Still, he could still get it done. I know he didn't play at all last year, but that year off was going to be big for him, I think. And we might even have a guy on our roster that we had last year in Cole Beasley. There's some rumors swirling around out there. I don't know if you saw that too. That's kind of interesting.
That would be
I don't know if it's going to happen. Steph tweeted something about the band's almost back together, referencing John Brown. There might be an extra piece that he needs back. So I'm not sure what it is, but I think our receivers are going to totally eat up against their corners, and I feel pretty good about that. I know Jalen Mills is actually banged up too, as it is. He's questionable for tomorrow's game, so I like that matchup as well.
All right,
how do we go the whole show without mentioning Smoke?
I know, right? Crazy, yeah.
Well, this is the opportunity to do that. So, Shawn, let me throw it to you for your key matchups, my friend.
Well, I mean, I hope it's a good matchup, but I think it's going to go to the Patriots' way. But Judon against the right and left tackle, or just, any defensive end against our tackles, it's going to be that's what I'm going to be scared of most. And, of course, because with Josh's arm, you could tell sometimes he's kind of like thinking about, if I, is someone behind me, and I don't like that. I think he'll shake that soon. But, if he's getting constant pressure, it's just more opportunity for something like that to happen, knock on wood. So, I'm hoping that these tackles hold up, but I think it's going to be leaning more towards the Patriots, but find ways to help them. Put Knox over there, swing out your running back over there to help chip block, do something to slow him down to give Josh the time that he needs. And that's my first one. And then, our coaching staff against not just Bill Belichick, but don't get out coached by Matt Patricia and Joe Judge. They're two of the worst coaches in the entire universe. Like, don't get out coached by them and lose this game. We're so much better coached than they are. Yeah, Bill Belichick's great, but when you got two cronies like those two trying to coach an offense, I'm just not a big fan of either of them. So we all seen what happened when they were head coaches, and Joe Judge, basically the same team the Giants had last year they have this year, and then a player's coach like Dayball got everybody going. Joe Judge will run a QB sneak at the 5 on first down, or was it third down or something? 3rd and 10, he ran a QB sneak with Jake Fromm. Like, nobody likes that guy. Nobody wants to play for that guy. Even Mac Jones, the Patriots guys were saying, like, Mac Jones was like complaining about Matt Patricia and Joe Judge constantly, like how they're calling plays and how he doesn't like their offense. And that if your quarterback's saying that, I take his word for it, honestly. So don't get out coached by these guys. I mean, we're a way better team. It's going to be close, but coaching matters, especially in a game like this, a division game with a defensive-minded genius like Bill Belichick. And, you're kind of thinking they got nothing to lose. I mean, yeah, they're in the playoff hunt, but nobody expected them to be, this year. But, I mean, Bill Belichick's going to throw everything at us. He wants to, now that he's in that position, 6-5, the tides can turn for them. If they beat us, they're not ahead of us, but they're back into the playoff race. And, we don't want them to be. So.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. It's almost, to me, it's a must win for them as well. So you're right. They're going to be throwing everything at us. I want to say this, though. I know you're worried about Judon, and so am I. But like you guys mentioned, we did a good job against them last year, and we've done good jobs against some of the top defensive linemen in the league this year.
Yeah, that's
Starting
true.
with Aaron Donald to start Thursday Night Football against was it Jeffries from the Titans?
Jeffrey
Is that his name?
Simmons,
Jeffrey Simmons,
Chris
yeah.
Jones, even. Yeah,
I
I mean,
mean, we've done a fantastic job, and somehow
right?
the Bills figure that out. So I think they'll be able to do that. Like you said, there's some additional help that's going to make it tougher. But I don't know. I feel like we can we'll do a good job there. We'll be impressed. For me, it's going to, we talked about these corners, right? I believe, like you said, Jake, that we're going to be able to stop this run. I really do, based on what we've been doing recently. With the addition of Edmonds back, with the addition of Rousseau back, who's great at the run stop game, even though he's an edge rusher, a fantastic run stopper. Epinesa, I really think we can shut that down. So to me, they're going to have to throw the ball at some point in this game, and can our corners finally shut it down? And I think we can if Trey White does play like you're saying, 30 snaps. We see some Xavier Rhodes thrown in there, and Dane Jackson and Kyrie Elam as well. So that's, to me, was the key matchup. What can our corners do? Because they've been getting eaten alive, right? They've been getting eaten alive lately. And, you shut down the running game, and then they just tear us apart in the passing game. So that's a big one for me. Hoping to see use Gilliam to block. Absolutely. The other one would be, obviously, like you guys kind of already talked about on the offensive side of things, is getting support on the O-line to give Josh time. Have him, like we said, help Judon, help block Judon, keep him out of Josh's face. And the other thing too, I think the other reason that we've done a good job against Judon, he has to stay kind of honest when he's playing Josh Allen, right?
Yeah.
Josh Allen will run right past you if you don't keep your lane, or if you don't keep containment. So it also makes these really, really good defensive players, not just be able to, peel back their ears and just come at the quarterback. No, they have to kind of respect what Josh can do, and that makes it difficult for them as well. So two key matchups: corners on defense, and then getting help for Josh, against the guys like Judon. So those are key matchups for me.
I like it, Mike. Yeah, I think it's my dad mentioned using Reggie Gilliam to block. That was sort of the recipe last year in the playoff game. We had a run game that was, long awaited. So I wonder if we kind of go back to that. We were talking about, help and neutralize these big playmakers on the edge, with Matt Judon, Josh Uche, Dietrich Wise. I mean, maybe you run heavy all day, and maybe you run the football a little bit. Give Josh that help, and then you open up the middle of the field a little bit. You dink and dunk. You do a little bit of Isaiah McKenzie. You get him across the middle, get some Dawson Knox action, throw it deep to Steph, throw one deep to Gabe. I think there's a lot of ways you can attack this. I love the idea of utilizing the fullback, especially in a gritty divisional matchup like this. I wish the Pats still had Jakob Johnson, but they don't. Thank God they don't, because he put on a clinic against us last year in that win game.
Yeah, I'm a little sick, and I think I said peel their ears back. It's pin their ears back.
Yeah, I knew what you meant.
Sorry, guys.
No, you're on the ball.
Well, that's fine. They can peel them too if they want.
That's right. Yes.
That sounds a little more painful, but all right, well, good stuff. So let's get into the predictions, the score predictions, and some bold predictions. Guys, I gotta say, I listened to your show last time. You got a little bit out of control with the score predictions, which is good. Hey, as long as we bring the win, but I don't know. Let's put a cap on it. I don't. I feel like anytime we've been putting
burgers. You can't predict 50 burgers.
Putting 40.
We were all
50,
feeling something that show.
Next thing you know, because we set our expectations so high, next thing you know, the game's going on, and Shawn's upset. We're all upset. It's like, what's going on? We're expecting 50, and we're putting up only like 20. Right?
Hey, in my defense, I made it like a quarter, I think, of not complaining about bad plays. So I give myself a little bit of credit. I was hoping to go the whole game.
We're gonna have to play the film back, because I don't know. I don't know, Jake. We're gonna have to roll the film on that one and check, because
we gotta have a separate thing like Shawn's heart meter throughout the game, and we could feature it on the show each week.
You don't want to know.
We could tell. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I have those that finger thing that tells you your oxygen and your heart rate.
Yeah,
I don't like to put it on while I'm watching the game, because I'm nervous about what it's going to say, and I might have to go to the hospital. But
I'll
do that for you guys this week and see what the high point is, and then I'll have to take it off because then I'll start getting anxiety. But
I think we were supposed to make you do push-ups, so that would kind of be a
That's
oh
right.
a
yeah,
telling tales, right? How many push-ups did you end up doing, Sean? So that'll be the question
if I get angry,
after the game tomorrow.
I like
Every
it.
time you get angry,
you guys aren't allowed
drop
to get
and give
angry,
us
though.
20. What's that?
Yeah. You guys aren't allowed to get angry though, because it's going to make me want to get angry as well.
No, we
But I
got to
need
try
push-ups
it.
for it. So you guys, if you want to, Mike does a good job. He kind of just mutes the chat and then doesn't pay attention because he's realized like once I
I
get
pay
going,
attention, Sean. I
once
pay
it
attention.
flows, once it starts flowing, I'm just like I don't even drink. So it's
Just
like,
gotta let you go, man. Just gotta
can't-
let you go.
can you imagine if I drank during games? Like, oh my god, I don't
Shawn,
know.
All right.
yeah, I mean, I'll tell you this, man. You know, I was the only one drinking during our last show, and I said we were going to put up 45 points. I was the most conservative out of all of us, so I don't know what we were on last week, but I do think it's time to come back down to earth here. My dad's saying 24-13. Pats, Darius, welcome, Darius. Glad to
Hey,
see
my
you. I know you've
friend.
been on a couple shows. He says Pats are about to get embarrassed. I'm not going to go that
I love
route.
it, bro.
I don't want to do
love
that.
it.
Mike, you mind if I give my prediction right now? I'm super fired up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You're up, man. Jake's predictions.
All right. So I think, you know, with a division game, you got to take a lot of things into consideration. You know, anything can really happen. And it's crazy because it's one of those things where you kind of just shake your head and you think, oh, no, this is just going to be a walk in the park. No big deal. We thought that against the Jets and we ended up losing 20-17. So we thought that against the Dolphins too. We lost 21-19. A lot of close division games. We're 0-2 in our division. I think we finally get back on track, but I'm not going to say it's going to be a blowout or anything like that. The Pats are a well-coached team. It's in Foxborough. It's going to be, you know, it's a hard-fought game. And even so, you know, you look at what last year's game was. Yeah, we kind of destroyed them. You know, I think they're going to come out and try to swing a little bit, man. I think they're going to throw a few things at us that we haven't seen, you know, a couple different looks maybe, and maybe they've been saving some plays specifically for this matchup because it is a division game. Maybe there's a little bit of vengeance on their mind. I know Bill Belichick doesn't like to feed into that, but you can't tell me that it doesn't mean a little bit more when you beat the Buffalo Bills or a division rival. So I think it's going to be a bloodbath, as Steph Diggs said. You know, it's going to be a lot of dirty work in the trenches. There's going to be a little bit of kicking and screaming out there, but I do think the Bills are going to pull it off. I think it's going to be a hard-fought win, and we do get a double-digit victory, but I'm saying it's going to be 28-17 Bills.
Love it.
All right. What about any bold predictions, Jake?
Yeah, so my bold prediction, I think, is going to be Nyheim Hines scores his first touchdown as a Buffalo Bill. I don't care how he does it, but he's going to find a way to get into the end zone. You know what? I'll even go one further. I think it's going to be a receiving touchdown. I can't see him scoring a rushing touchdown. So he scores a receiving touchdown tomorrow, and I think Tremaine Edmonds has a pick six.
Oh, all right.
So we're going to
More
score
of a
on the
miracle
defensive
if
side
they
of the
get
ball. Yes. And we're going to see just how big of a difference maker Tremaine Edmonds is in the middle of the field tomorrow. You know, obviously the Pats don't have the same makeup of the roster as they had in years past with those slot guys going across the middle, left and right. Jacoby Myers is sort of filling that role right now. But I think the middle of the field, especially in a game like this with those two tight ends with Tremaine Edmonds out there, it's going to be huge, man. So we're going to see just how much of a difference maker he is. He's going to have a pick six tomorrow, guys.
All right. Awesome. Sean, let's throw it to you for your score prediction and some bold predictions.
Okay. Well, first I'll say, Darius, I messaged you on 2 different platforms for your birthday and you didn't respond, so I'm upset.
Wow.
But happy belated if you didn't get my messages for some reason. But it's all love. It's all love.
Happy birthday,
thanks for tuning
Darius.
in,
Happy
of
birthday,
course.
Darius.
And I think, of course, it's going to be a especially tough division game. We're 0-2 in the division, and you know, after we absolutely destroyed the Pats 2 times in a row, especially that playoff game, you know, that's all they thought about probably. I mean, that would be all I think about is, wow, we had an opportunity to be in the playoffs and they had the best offensive performance in the entire NFL history in the playoffs against us. That's not happening again. So
Yeah.
I think it'll be a tough game, but I would like to see 28 points, but I'm going to say it's going to be 24-21. And I think that's the most conservative I've ever been in a prediction. I would love a blowout like Darius said. I mean, embarrassing the Pats, that would be amazing. I mean, they embarrassed us for 20 years. We embarrassed them for a couple. And I mean, they beat us once in the last few years, but we embarrassed them a couple times. We need to keep embarrassing them, but nothing better than beating a division rival. And I mean, again, every game, I said it from the Vikings game, every game from then on to the end is a playoff game. And, we're winning these close, the Browns was a close playoff game. The Lions were a close playoff game, regardless of record. It was a playoff type atmosphere. The Lions game, I mean, I think we touched about it, Jake.
Yeah.
That was like the most packed that stadium's been in years. And they knew if we win, we have a shot somehow at 5-7 or they would have been 5-6 going into the playoffs possibly. So that game meant a lot to them, and they played like it. So this game's no different. You got a 3-game gauntlet with your division. Let's start it with a 24-21 game. And it's nice that baskets game winners, but to make it even more intense, let's have Josh drive down the field and get a game-winning touchdown. And part of my bold prediction will be that game-winning touchdown will be the smoke.
Ooh, I like it. Is it going to be a deep pass, or what are we talking here, Shawn?
We'll see. We'll say just like a modest 30-yarder, just a little modest one.
I like that.
For the defense, 5 sacks.
Wow.
And Rousseau has 2.5.
Okay. I love that. I think that's brilliant.
Well, they give up a lot of sacks, so it's quite possible.
Yeah.
So for me, it's pretty close to Shawn's prediction. I say the Bills win this 24-20. I know he's got 21. I'm going to say 24-20. My bold prediction is we see Josh Allen start throwing some touchdown passes again. He's going to throw 3 of them. And all 3 of them, this is big, bold prediction right here. All 3 of them are in the red zone. Believe it or not, we get 3 red zone touchdowns from Josh Allen. So that's where we've really struggled. And while we're there, we're about done here. While we're there, let me throw it to you, Shawn. Why do you think we've struggled so much in the red zone?
Well, I did hear something that I think we're ranked 28th in the red zone this year, and we were 4 last year. I feel like we did struggle a lot last year, though, in the red zone at times. But part of it, I think, is thinking too much and then not utilizing the proper players in the red zone. I mean, I've said it multiple times with Jake on that last show. Use your fast guys like McKenzie and Nyheim Hines. You can do like a fake jet sweep end around with either one of them.
They should both be on the field at the same time. There's no reason
exactly.
for it.
And then, again, use Josh's legs in the red zone. That was a big thing with last year and the year before that. Like Josh wasn't afraid to run in the red zone, and people had to account for that. Now, most of the time, you're going down there, you run up the middle one time, you throw we don't even run true screen passes. You know what I mean? It's just like a quick pass to a tight end, and it's like there's no screen help. Run an actual screen maybe, but you don't run even actual screens, and that happens. It gets blown up. And then you're stuck. So I think a lot of it's coaching, but I mean, play calling's huge. Obviously, that's coaching, but you got to use the correct personnel, and some of it's predictable, like that RPO thing that like the Anzalone intercepted. He was spying Josh on that one, and he already knew he was looking at Diggs the whole time, and then boom, tip pass interception. So I mean, a lot of it's Josh's choice, but also at the same time, it's not really great play calling. And again, Dorsey, the first 6 weeks, that's the best the offense has ever been. So he's going to take his lumps. Daboll didn't have excuses because he coached for decades. He was offensive coordinator for the longest time. He didn't get an excuse for me. He was just bad. Great sometimes, bad sometimes. I wasn't a huge fan. I thought he got too much credit. I think he gets too much credit for the Giants as well. But Dorsey, we've seen what he did the first 6 weeks. And then he's learning on the job too. I mean, he's having a little bit of a lull, just like Josh is, and it's going to happen. It's his first time calling plays ever. So give him some time. We all see what happened the first 6 weeks. We know it's in him. We know he can make this offense be the best offense in the league. And even so, it's ranked number 2. I mean, that's great. So yeah, he's not doing the best in the red zone, but that's all things that you can fix. And like Mike said, it's going to be fixed this week. We're going to start scoring in the red zone, and then, utilize your weapons. Guys like Dawson Knox, Reggie Gilliam, even big boys use that.
I
But
love it. How about zero
gotta
turnovers
be
this week?
tricky.
0 turnovers, guys. That's a community bold
Is
prediction.
that
Let's go
all
with
right? I was
that.
going to say we got to put that on the bold prediction.
Yeah.
That would be huge. Jake, I'll ask you the same question. Your thoughts on that red zone problem that we've been having? Why are we like pretty much dead last or close to last?
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense with an offense like this.
I think it's a lot of what Shawn was saying. It definitely comes down to play calling. It's very predictable when we get down there. We run the same 3 plays. It's either an RPO, it's a stupid draw play, or it's a lot of the same thing over and over and over again. And I think I don't know if there's a battle of like philosophies between Ken Dorsey and Sean McDermott. It was rumored between Brian Dable and Sean McDermott to have a battle of philosophies as well, where they didn't really agree on what they were doing all the time. So I don't know if there's anything like that. I think the relationship, from what I've seen and from what I've heard, I don't know. I'm not in that building, of course, but it sounds like it's pretty sound and it's good. I don't know. Maybe it's just, first-year offensive coordinator overthinking things and making it, simple, too simple, I think, in a way. But it's because he's overcomplicating it in his head, if that even makes sense. It's such a weird thing to say. But, yeah, I think it's a lot of that. I really do. I think, you gotta help Josh out a little bit in the red zone because, again, that's a prime example, Shawn. We talked about the RPO last week. I mean, it's such a predictable thing. Everyone could tell that it was going to happen, and Alex Anzalone's out there, and he just comes up with an easy interception. So I think, the play calling needs to be better. Obviously, we got to be a little more sound down there, and we'll figure it out. It's part of the ebbs and flows of the season, and we're going to pull it out. So all good here. All good here.
Right.
Just want to highlight real quick. I see Mike Hartel's out there. Mike, thank
Yep.
you so much for your support. Seriously, he always joins in every show. He does a really nice job of providing his feedback as well. Yeah, you mentioned Jacoby Myers is injured. Yeah, we did talk about that early on. Yeah, I know I mentioned he's kind of like that slot guy. I don't know if he's going to actually play or not. Slinky, thank you for joining us too, talking about Tua and Mahomes in the same conversation. It is crazy, man. I mean, Tua's been playing very well this year, but to be on the same level as Pat Mahomes, you have to have the same consistency that Pat Mahomes has had. He
More
came
than
right out
7
of the
games
gate.
out of 3 years.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, it's a totally different story. So, and Mike's saying that Tua is going to be back to mediocrity by the end of the year. I don't know if he's going to be mediocre, but I think he will come back down to earth. And then he's saying more Belichick phone smashing is in order. Absolutely, I could see it happening. I think he's going to smash that tablet all day tomorrow. So let's hope and pray.
Yeah, I'd like to see everyone's predictions out there, at least your score predictions. I only saw a few out there, so please throw those in while we wrap things up. I do want to say, again, this is the Nickel City Mafia and Red, White, and Bills. Please like, comment, and subscribe to our channels. We greatly appreciate it. And also, as you see on the ticker right there, Nickel City Mafia has teamed up with Punt, an organization that helps families that have children with cancer or a child with cancer, and we're helping. We have our family that we're going to help. It's in the description of the video, so please click the link. Any little bit amount that you can share or donate would be greatly appreciated. And if you can't donate, please share the link to friends, family, and all your social media platforms. I'll throw it to Shawn to wrap things up on his side, and then we'll go to Jake. But Shawn, tell the folks about your channel. I mean, most of them, I mean, your family now. If you've been watching Nickel City Mafia, they know who Shawn is. But for anyone who's new out there, talk to them about your channel and all the stuff that you got going on there.
I appreciate you, Mike. Again, thank you guys for letting me on. It's always a pleasure and an honor to be with you guys. And it's fun. It's like you said, we're a big family here. But Red, White, and Bills, I do the pre-games, the post-games, but it's all the pre-games and post-games mostly now are, with Nickel City Mafia. Most of the time for the pre-game, I'm working in the morning, but luckily we had a couple games where they're at night, or I had the day off, so I was able to get on with them. But definitely pre-game, post-game. I do a weekly pick segment with Nando Talk. We're going to start. We had a break this week because he had a lot of family in for Thanksgiving, and I had some family as well. So we're going to pick it up this coming week. Disclaimer that last week I only had one loss. The Bears were the only team that didn't win. So I had a really solid week after I had a 7-6 week the week before. I think I was 12-1. So, I mean, can't get much better than that. I'm pretty happy about it. And also I got the new Him or Jim segment. But now I got a little special announcement. I'm going to make a second YouTube channel I got into collecting cards again. So like Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon. I know I just got I started opening packs and I was just like, this is fun. And I see a lot of YouTubers out there doing it. And I was like, well, you can have 2 channels on an email. So I said, you know what? Why not do, I love my Buffalo Bills and I love to be nostalgic and remember the things I did when I was a kid, and collecting has, been on a rise. So I thought, why not?
That.
I'm probably going to put out an intro for the channel later tonight, but I thought, why not? I know it's a lot on my plate, with everything going on, but obviously love my Bills. It's still going to be the same content with the red, white, and Bills, because the card things only, they're expensive. So it's only going to be like once a week, maybe, if I get something. So, I mean, it's just a little fun thing. I thought, why not? So if you like cards, mainly Yu-Gi-Oh, probably some Pokemon eventually, even some sports cards, there's football, basketball, anything people want to see, I'm going to be doing that. So even if you don't like cards, come subscribe when I get the name and put it out and everything. But yeah, so it's going to be two different channels for me. So, but I appreciate, obviously I love coming on with you guys and being a big team here. We put out constant content. You guys as well. You have your fantasy football, the golf, the football. We're always teaming up. You're always making time for me and Brett. And, I love the dynamic we all bring. And, if you're not watching all of us, Nickel City Mafia, Red, White, and Bills, Go Bills podcast, who are you watching? What are you doing?
I know, right? Exactly. I love it.
We bring the heat. We bring the truth. And, we're very objective. Yeah, everything's great. We're huge fans. The Bills are an awesome team. But we're going to talk about the bad. Some people don't like to talk about it, but you got to talk about it. It can't just be, like Rocky said, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. And it's not.
Okay.
So, but it's going to be.
Which one was that from? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
I think it wasn't 1. I think it was when Adrian died. No,
talking about Adrian.
I think it was the 4th one. But
wow.
It's going to definitely be, it won't be sunshine and rainbows tomorrow night, but it's going to be dark and starry and a wind. So thank you guys. Thank you guys for letting me on. I mean, I can't wait for tomorrow and the pregame. Pregame's going to be, I might drink a little bit tomorrow if it's a really good game. Maybe I'll do that for you guys. I mean, I know Mike's not much of a drinker on the show, but I mean, I might join Jake with a little drink. We'll see.
I like that.
Mike's not a drinker ever. He doesn't drink at all.
Yeah.
Show or not. So it's okay.
I do enough for the both of us. So we're good there.
Yeah. Jake's got us covered.
Right.
Good stuff, Shawn. And I love that card idea. I'm going to definitely be watching that. I was a card collector back in the day, sports cards, Pokemon, anything that I thought was going to be able to gain value, and I might be able to resell it at a certain point for a large gain. But it's fun. It's fun stuff. And my kids love that type of thing as well. So it'll be fun. We'll check that out for sure. Jake, let me throw it to you. Close it out for us, man. Talk to us. I mean, post-game tomorrow. Yeah. Hopefully, Brett, if you're out there still listening, we hope you join us. Heck, you know what? I want to tell everyone that's still out there. There's only 5 people listening or watching. But if you see this later, we're open to having you guys join us on the show. We would love to bring you on. It's super simple. All you need is a camera. All you need is a browser. And, of course, a microphone. And most people have that these days because, when COVID came around, we all had to work remote. And they had to work at their homes. So we want to bring more people. I know Shawn's done it on his show. Jake and I have done it. And I'm hoping, Shawn, if you can book Nando, I think his name, Nando Talk, if you can book him for the Dolphin game, which is coming up in a few weeks. We'd love to get him on the show. I'm sure he's going to do a show with you, but if you can have him come on over here, we'd love to talk. I love the kid. He's got good things to say, even though he's a Dolphins fan. I really like him. I love his attitude, and he really respects the Bills as well. So that's awesome.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Sorry, Jake. Let me throw it to you.
No, it's all good, Mike. Yeah, I mean, we talked about a lot today, guys. I think at the end of the day, the Bills are going to have to get this done one way and one way only. And I'm going to hold this up to the camera. Thanks again, Tom, for sending these. But let's just remember, guys.
Yes.
And Josh Allen, we trust. So
wooden nickel.
Yep, the wooden nickel right there. And Tom was saying earlier, he said he bets 1,500 wooden nickels that the Bills are going to come out with a big win. So I'm going to echo that too, Tom. Let's go out there, let's kick some ass, and let's have a day tomorrow, boys. I think it's going to be a great post-game show. I'm feeling pretty good about it. It's not just the bourbon talking this time. I really believe in this one. So, hey, it's going to be a good one, and excited to do it, guys. And again, Mike, thank you so much for putting this together and having us all together again. And glad you're feeling better, and welcome back to it, baby.
Yeah, it's good to be back with you guys. Thank you. It was fun listening to you, but I like it when I'm able to participate with you guys, and you guys did a great job filling in, and so good stuff. And yes, post game show is tomorrow after the game. We typically will go about an hour right after the game ends. Gives us time to get things ready for you guys. So we hope to see you and celebrate tomorrow. So again, Shawn, thank you. Jake, thank you. As always, you guys are fantastic. Brett, hope to see you on the show tomorrow. Everyone else, take care. Go Bills.
Hey, go Bills, baby.
Go Bills.